Have you ever wondered why certain women seem to carry a divine spark that illuminates everything around them? Why some women appear to be chosen for extraordinary purposes that transcend the ordinary boundaries of existence? Today, we're diving deep into something that will transform how you see yourself and your spiritual journey. We're exploring the 5 distinct types of women that the divine selects for sacred missions on Earth. And by the end of this video, you'll discover exactly which type resonates with your soul's deepest calling. Throughout human history, there have been women who carried something different, something that set them apart from the rest. These weren't just coincidences or random selections. According to the profound spiritual insights of renowned psychiatrist and past life therapist Dr. Weiss, the universe operates through deliberate divine orchestration, and certain souls are specifically chosen to fulfill sacred purposes during their earthly incarnations. But here's what's truly remarkable about this revelation. You might be one of these chosen women without even realizing it. The signs are often subtle, woven into the fabric of your daily experiences, your dreams, your unexplained knowing, and the way others naturally gravitate toward you for guidance and comfort. If you feel a deep connection to spiritual mysteries, if you've always sensed there was something more to your existence than what meets the eye, then this message is meant for you. If you resonate with this spiritual vibration, subscribe and activate notifications. Leave in the comments, "I am ready to evolve spiritually." The concept of divine selection isn't new to humanity's spiritual understanding. Throughout centuries, mystics, theologians, and spiritual teachers have recognized that certain individuals are called to serve as bridges between the earthly and divine realms. Dr. Weiss, through his extensive research into past life regression and spiritual healing, has uncovered patterns that reveal how the universe selects specific souls for sacred missions. In his groundbreaking work, Weiss discovered that women, in particular, often serve as powerful conduits for divine love, healing, and transformation. This isn't about gender superiority or inferiority. It's about the unique spiritual qualities that the feminine essence brings to the world. Women possess an innate ability to nurture, heal, transform, and create in ways that serve the greater good of humanity's spiritual evolution. The selection process isn't arbitrary. It's based on the soul's accumulated wisdom from multiple lifetimes, the lessons learned, the love cultivated, and the willingness to serve something greater than oneself. Each chosen woman carries specific gifts, challenges, and purposes that align perfectly with what the world needs at any given moment in its evolutionary journey. Understanding these divine selections also helps explain the spiritual struggles many women face. When you're chosen for a sacred purpose, life often presents you with intensified challenges designed to strengthen your spiritual muscles and prepare you for your greater mission. These aren't punishments, they're preparation programs orchestrated by divine wisdom. But what are the greatest challenges and mysteries surrounding these divine selections? One of the most significant obstacles chosen women face is the lack of recognition of their own spiritual power. Society often conditions women to diminish their intuitive abilities, to question their inner knowing, and to prioritize external validation over internal wisdom. Many chosen women struggle with what Weiss describes as spiritual amnesia, a temporary forgetting of their soul's purpose that serves as a protective mechanism during their early development. This amnesia can create feelings of disconnection, purposelessness, or the sense of being different without understanding why. They might feel like outsiders in conventional social structures, experiencing an inexplicable longing for something they can't quite name. Another profound challenge is the intensity of their emotional and psychic sensitivity. Chosen women often experience overwhelming empathy, picking up on others' emotions and energies in ways that can feel unbearable without proper understanding and spiritual tools. They might struggle with boundaries, feeling responsible for healing everyone around them while neglecting their own spiritual well-being. The mystery deepens when we consider the timing of their awakening. Some women receive their calling early in life through dramatic spiritual experiences, while others don't fully recognize their purpose until midlife or even later. This delayed recognition isn't a mistake. It's often divinely timed to coincide with their optimal readiness to handle the responsibility and power that comes with their sacred role. Share in the comments a life experience where you felt the presence of spiritual mentors or an inner transformation. The transformation process for chosen women unfolds in distinct phases that mirror the soul's evolutionary journey. The first phase typically involves what spiritual traditions call the dark night of the soul, a period of intense questioning, confusion, and sometimes suffering that serves to break down old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve their higher purpose. During this initial transformation phase, chosen women often experience a dismantling of their previous identity structures. Career paths that once seemed important may suddenly feel meaningless. Relationships that once provided comfort may become sources of conflict as their vibration shifts and elevates. This isn't destruction for destruction's sake. It's the necessary clearing that must occur before the new, more authentic self can emerge. The second phase involves what Weiss terms spiritual awakening through remembrance. This is when chosen women begin to recall their soul's deeper purpose, often through meditation, dreams, synchronicities, or profound spiritual experiences. They start to understand that their life challenges weren't random hardships but carefully designed curricula for their spiritual development. As this awakening progresses, chosen women often discover latent psychic abilities. They might begin experiencing precognitive dreams, healing abilities, telepathic connections, or an enhanced ability to communicate with spiritual guides and departed souls. These abilities aren't supernatural anomalies. They're natural gifts that were always present, but temporarily veiled for protection and proper timing. The third phase involves integration and service. This is when chosen women learn to balance their spiritual gifts with practical earthly responsibilities. They discover how to use their heightened sensitivity as a strength rather than a burden, how to set healthy energetic boundaries while still serving others, and how to trust their intuitive guidance while navigating a predominantly logical world. Throughout these transformation phases, chosen women often experience physical symptoms that reflect their spiritual evolution. They might become more sensitive to foods, environments, or people's energies. Sleep patterns may shift, with increased dream activity and spiritual downloads occurring during rest periods. These physical changes aren't illnesses. They're adaptations to support their expanding consciousness. The personal impact of being a chosen woman extends far beyond individual spiritual development. It creates ripple effects that touch every aspect of their relationships and daily interactions. Family members often notice changes in these women long before they fully understand their transformation themselves. Children, in particular, seem to instinctively recognize and gravitate toward chosen women, sensing the healing and protective energy they naturally emanate. Romantic relationships for chosen women can become particularly complex during their awakening process. Partners who aren't spiritually aligned may feel threatened by the changes they observe, leading to either profound growth within the relationship or sometimes its dissolution. This isn't a failure, it's often a necessary realignment that allows both souls to pursue their authentic paths. In professional settings, chosen women frequently find themselves in roles that allow them to help, heal, or guide others, even if they didn't consciously plan such career paths. They might be the colleague everyone turns to during crises, the teacher who profoundly impacts students' lives, or the healthcare worker whose presence alone seems to accelerate healing. The emotional impact of carrying divine purpose can be both exhilarating and overwhelming. Chosen women often describe feeling like they're living multiple lives simultaneously, their ordinary human existence and their expanded spiritual awareness. Learning to navigate between these different levels of consciousness while maintaining their groundedness becomes an essential skill. Many chosen women also experience what could be called divine homesickness, a deep longing for spiritual connection that earthly experiences can't fully satisfy. This isn't depression, it's the soul's recognition of its larger cosmic home and purpose. Understanding this longing as a spiritual compass rather than a personal deficiency helps chosen women embrace their unique nature. If this message touched your soul, leave a like so more consciousnesses awaken to the light. The evidence for divine selection in women appears in various forms throughout their lived experiences, creating patterns that become undeniable once recognized. One of the most common signs is the phenomenon of synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to guide chosen women toward their purpose. These might manifest as repeatedly encountering specific numbers, meeting the right people at crucial moments, or finding exactly the right book, course, or opportunity when they need spiritual guidance most. Dreams serve as another powerful source of evidence for chosen women. Weiss documented countless cases where women received direct spiritual guidance, met with departed loved ones, or experienced prophetic visions through their dream states. These aren't ordinary dreams. They carry a distinct quality of clarity and spiritual significance that chosen women instinctively recognize. Physical manifestations also provide compelling evidence of divine selection. Many chosen women report experiencing unexplained healing abilities, either for themselves or others. They might find that their touch soothes pain, their presence calms anxiety, or their prayers seem to manifest with unusual frequency and accuracy. These aren't learned skills. They emerge naturally as part of their spiritual awakening. The testimony of others often serves as external validation of a woman's chosen status. Friends, family members, and even strangers frequently comment on the unusual peace, wisdom, or healing energy they feel in these women's presence. Children and animals, who are naturally sensitive to spiritual energies, often display immediate trust and affection toward chosen women. Scientific research, while still limited in scope, has begun documenting some of these phenomena. Studies on therapeutic touch, distant healing, and the measurable effects of prayer and meditation provide growing evidence that some individuals possess enhanced healing abilities. Brain imaging studies of experienced meditators and spiritual practitioners show distinct neural patterns that support their expanded states of consciousness. Past life regression sessions, as documented by Weiss and other practitioners, reveal that chosen women often have soul histories of service, healing, and spiritual dedication across multiple incarnations. These past life memories, when they surface, often explain current life talents, challenges, and the inexplicable knowledge that chosen women sometimes possess about spiritual matters they've never formally studied. The power of intuitive knowing serves as perhaps the strongest personal evidence for chosen women. They often receive information through channels they can't logically explain. Sudden insights about people's needs, knowledge of future events, or understanding of complex spiritual concepts without formal education. This inner knowing becomes increasingly reliable as they learn to trust and develop their spiritual gifts. Send this video to someone who is seeking spiritual clarity or comfort. Understanding how to embrace and develop these divine gifts becomes crucial for chosen women who recognize themselves in these descriptions. The first essential step involves developing a regular spiritual practice that creates space for divine communication. This might include meditation, prayer, journaling, or any activity that quiets the logical mind and allows spiritual guidance to emerge. Creating healthy, energetic boundaries becomes paramount for chosen women who are naturally empathic and sensitive to others' energies. This involves learning techniques to distinguish between their own emotions and those they're picking up from others, understanding how to help without becoming energetically depleted, and recognizing when to step back for their own spiritual well-being. Trusting the process of divine timing requires patience and faith, especially during periods when the path forward isn't clear. Chosen women often struggle with wanting to rush their spiritual development or force outcomes that aren't yet meant to manifest. Learning to surrender to divine timing while still taking inspired action becomes an ongoing spiritual practice. Building a supportive spiritual community proves invaluable for chosen women on their journey. This might involve finding mentors who've walked similar paths, connecting with other spiritually awakening women, or participating in groups that honor and nurture spiritual development. Isolation can be particularly challenging for chosen women, making community connection essential for their continued growth. Integrating spiritual gifts with practical life responsibilities requires ongoing balance and wisdom. Chosen women must learn how to honor their spiritual calling while maintaining careers, families, and other earthly commitments. This integration isn't about choosing between spiritual and practical. It's about finding ways to infuse spiritual purpose into all aspects of life. Developing discernment becomes crucial for distinguishing between genuine spiritual guidance and ego-driven desires or external pressures. This involves learning to recognize the quality of true divine guidance, its peace-filled nature, its alignment with love and service, and its focus on the highest good for all involved. The practice of forgiveness, both for themselves and others, accelerates chosen women's spiritual evolution. Many carry wounds from lifetimes of service that went unrecognized or was met with resistance. Healing these wounds through forgiveness releases energy that can then be channeled into their current divine mission. Write in the comments, "Today I free myself from old patterns and embrace the light of spiritual renewal." Now, let's explore the 5 specific types of women that divine wisdom selects for sacred service on earth. Each type carries unique gifts, faces particular challenges, and serves distinct purposes in humanity's spiritual evolution. Understanding these types helps chosen women recognize their specific calling and develop their gifts accordingly. The first type is the healer. These women are selected for their profound ability to channel divine healing energy into the physical, emotional, and spiritual realms. Healers often discover their gifts early in life, perhaps finding that their touch soothes others' pain or that their presence brings comfort to those who are suffering. They might be drawn to careers in healthcare, alternative healing, or therapeutic arts, but their healing abilities extend far beyond any professional training they receive. Healer women face the unique challenge of managing their profound empathy without becoming overwhelmed by others' pain. They must learn to channel healing energy without depleting their own life force, understanding that they are conduits for divine love rather than the source of healing power themselves. Their divine mission involves serving as bridges between heaven and earth, bringing spiritual healing into a world that desperately needs their touch. The second type is the teacher. These women are chosen for their ability to translate complex spiritual concepts into accessible wisdom that guides others on their spiritual journeys. Teacher women possess an innate understanding of spiritual truths that they can communicate clearly and compassionately. They might find themselves in formal educational roles, but their teaching extends into every interaction they have with others. Teacher women often struggle with the responsibility they feel to share their spiritual knowledge while respecting others' free will and readiness to receive such wisdom. They must learn to plant seeds of understanding without forcing spiritual growth on others, trusting that divine timing will determine when their teachings will take root. Their mission involves serving as way showers, illuminating the path for others without walking it for them. The third type is the protector. These women are selected for their fierce devotion to defending the vulnerable and standing as guardians for those who cannot protect themselves. Protector women possess unusual courage and strength, often finding themselves in positions where they must advocate for justice, defend the innocent, or shield others from harm. Their protective instincts extend beyond the physical realm into spiritual protection as well. Protector women face the challenge of balancing their warrior nature with divine love, ensuring that their protective actions stem from compassion rather than anger or vengeance. They must learn to fight spiritual battles without becoming consumed by the darkness they're protecting others from. Their divine mission involves serving as spiritual warriors, maintaining the boundaries between light and darkness in both seen and unseen realms. Thank the higher plan by leaving your like as a sign of connection and gratitude for this message received. The fourth type is the bridge builder. These women are chosen for their unique ability to create connections between different worlds, whether those are cultural, spiritual, generational, or dimensional bridges. Bridge builder women often find themselves naturally mediating conflicts, translating between different perspectives, or helping others understand viewpoints they might otherwise reject. Bridge builder women frequently struggle with feeling like they don't fully belong to any one group or tradition, as their gift requires them to maintain perspective that encompasses multiple viewpoints. They must learn to embrace their role as spiritual diplomats, understanding that their perceived outsider status is actually their greatest strength. Their mission involves fostering understanding and unity in a world prone to division and separation. The fifth type is the mystic. These women are chosen for their direct connection to divine consciousness and their ability to receive and channel pure spiritual information. Mystic women often experience profound spiritual visions, receive guidance from higher realms, and possess deep understanding of cosmic truths that they haven't learned through conventional means. Mystic women face the challenge of grounding their elevated spiritual experiences into practical earthly existence. They must learn to function in ordinary reality while maintaining their connection to extraordinary spiritual dimensions. Their mission involves serving as receivers and transmitters of divine wisdom, bringing new understanding and elevated consciousness to humanity's collective awareness. Each of these types can overlap within individual women, and many chosen women embody characteristics of multiple types throughout their spiritual evolution. The key is recognizing which primary gifts you carry and understanding how to develop and use them in service to your divine purpose. Understanding your type helps clarify not only your spiritual gifts, but also the particular challenges you're meant to overcome and the specific ways you're called to serve. It explains why certain experiences resonate deeply with your soul, while others feel foreign or uncomfortable. Most importantly, it validates your unique spiritual path and helps you trust the inner guidance that's been leading you all along. Your recognition of your type also helps you understand the relationships in your life and why you attract certain people and situations. Other chosen women often recognize each other on a soul level, forming spiritual alliances that support each other's missions. Understanding your type helps you recognize these soul connections and honor the spiritual purposes behind your relationships. As you reflect on these 5 types, pay attention to which description creates the strongest resonance within your heart. That internal recognition is your soul's way of confirming your divine identity and calling. Trust that response, even if your logical mind tries to question or minimize it. Comment: I align with the purposes of good and continue firm in my journey of elevation. The practical application of these spiritual gifts in daily life requires both courage and wisdom. Once a chosen woman recognizes her divine type and begins developing her gifts, she faces the ongoing challenge of integrating her spiritual calling with the practical demands of ordinary existence. This integration isn't about choosing between spiritual service and worldly responsibilities. It's about finding ways to infuse divine purpose into every aspect of life. For healer types, this might mean approaching their day job with healing intention, whether they work in healthcare or completely unrelated fields. They learn to bring healing energy to every interaction, whether they're helping a customer, comforting a friend, or simply standing in line at the grocery store. Their healing gift becomes a way of being, rather than something they only practice during designated healing sessions. Teacher types discover opportunities to share wisdom in countless everyday situations. They might find themselves naturally explaining complex concepts to co-workers, offering spiritual perspective to friends facing challenges, or modeling spiritual principles through their actions and choices. Their teaching becomes woven into their natural communication style rather than confined to formal educational settings. Protector types learn to channel their protective instincts into advocacy for social justice, environmental protection, or spiritual defense against negative influences. They might find themselves drawn to careers in law enforcement, social work, or activism, but their protective service extends into every relationship and situation where someone needs their strength and courage. Bridge builder types develop skills in conflict resolution, cultural translation, and spiritual diplomacy that serve them in family relationships, workplace dynamics, and community involvement. They become the people others turn to when understanding and reconciliation are needed, helping heal divisions wherever they encounter them. Mystic types learn to ground their elevated spiritual experiences through creative expression, spiritual writing, teaching, or any medium that allows them to share the divine wisdom they receive. They become conduits for bringing higher consciousness into earthly expression through art, music, literature, or direct spiritual guidance for others. The development of these gifts requires consistent spiritual practice, ongoing education, and most importantly, regular connection with divine guidance. Chosen women must maintain their spiritual foundation through prayer, meditation, or whatever practices keep them aligned with their higher purpose. Without this foundation, even the most gifted individuals can become disconnected from their divine calling. Self-care becomes not just important, but essential for chosen women, as their spiritual service can be demanding and depleting without proper energetic maintenance. This includes physical self-care, emotional processing, mental stimulation, and spiritual renewal. Chosen women often struggle with guilt around prioritizing their own needs, but learning to maintain their spiritual well-being ensures they can continue serving others effectively. The journey also requires ongoing discernment between genuine spiritual guidance and personal desires, fears, or external pressures. Chosen women must develop the ability to distinguish between divine direction and ego-driven impulses, understanding that true spiritual guidance always aligns with love, service, and the highest good for all involved. Building supportive relationships with other spiritually awakening individuals provides crucial encouragement and validation for chosen women on their journey. These connections often form naturally as like-minded souls are drawn together by their shared purpose and understanding. These spiritual friendships become sources of mutual support, growth, and accountability. If this message touched your soul, leave a like so more consciousness is awakened to the light. As we conclude this exploration of divine selection and the 5 types of chosen women, it's important to understand that recognizing yourself in these descriptions isn't about spiritual ego or feeling superior to others. Every soul has value and purpose, and the divine selection we've discussed represents specific service contracts that certain souls have agreed to fulfill during this lifetime. The recognition of your chosen status brings with it both tremendous privilege and significant responsibility. You've been entrusted with spiritual gifts not for your own glorification, but for the healing, teaching, protection, bridge-building, or mystical service that our world desperately needs. This recognition should inspire humility and dedication rather than pride or separation from others. Your spiritual journey as a chosen woman will continue evolving throughout your lifetime and beyond. The gifts you recognize today may deepen and expand in ways you can't currently imagine. New abilities may emerge as you grow spiritually and take on greater service responsibilities. The key is maintaining openness to ongoing divine guidance while staying grounded in practical wisdom. Remember that your spiritual gifts are meant to be shared, not hoarded. The divine energy that flows through you isn't yours to keep. It's yours to channel for the benefit of others and the world. This doesn't mean depleting yourself in service to others, but rather learning to be an effective conduit for divine love and wisdom. The challenges you face as a chosen woman aren't obstacles to your spiritual success. They're opportunities for growth, refinement, and deeper understanding of your divine purpose. Every difficulty you overcome strengthens your spiritual muscles and prepares you for greater service. Trust that nothing in your experience is wasted. Everything contributes to your spiritual development and ability to serve others. Your relationship with the divine will deepen as you embrace your chosen status and develop your gifts. You'll discover that prayer becomes conversation, meditation becomes communion, and service becomes natural expression of your love for creation. This intimacy with divine consciousness becomes both your reward and your fuel for continued service. The impact of your spiritual service extends far beyond what you can see or measure. Every person you heal, teach, protect, connect, or inspire through your mystical gifts creates ripple effects that touch countless other lives. Your service contributes to humanity's collective spiritual evolution in ways that may not be fully revealed until you review your life from the spiritual perspective. As you move forward on your journey, trust the inner guidance that has brought you to this recognition. Your soul knows its purpose, even when your mind feels uncertain. The very fact that this message resonated with you confirms that your spiritual awakening is unfolding according to divine timing and wisdom.